Hello everyone, welcome back to the LightBringers episode 31. And if you watched the guild chat, or you watched the episode just before this where we were reacting to guild chat, then this is going to be an interesting one. We have some amazing guests. Obviously myself here is Jebro, host of the LightBringers, creator of worlds. Fornax is here as well. If you don't know who Fornax is, Fornax produces the content for the awesome Crichton Herald, and is very sassy, as we're finding out in the last 10 minutes. And apparently I didn't know this, and I should have. It's nice to see, well, nice to have you here, or hear you, sorry. Do you want to tell people, viewers, listeners about yourself a bit? Because you haven't been here before, so that might be a nice thing to do.
So I'm Fornax. Crichton Herald is my channel. Started as a role-playing newspaper in-game. No shit, yeah. And I'm very happy to be here, and I have a YouTube channel. So there you go, that's it. That's me, hi.
Did you swear and then got suddenly paranoid?
Yep.
I was like, I would try not to swear.
Shame. You could spin it and say that you said shame, because it kind of sounded similar. Because you said no shame, so like you would spin it.
We're trying. But please, yes, continue to sell yourself. It's okay. So you make most of your stuff on YouTube. You don't stream too much, right? I don't think.
I haven't streamed since 1840, but I should. I'm a solo creator, so all the stuff, it's me, like you guys, you know. One-man show, or one-woman show, no testicles needed, yeah.
Yeah, no, they've already been spent on stuff in game. Okay, awesome. Kroof, welcome back. Tell us about your stuff, what you doing, all the things.
Hi everyone, I'm back once again. No matter how much cream you put on me, I just will never go away. So I do a lot of YouTube stuff, and I also do some Twitch stuff, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays when I get asked to be on podcasts. And even when I'm not, I'll just do some fun stuff, but probably catch me around. I've been posting on the official forums, giving feedback for the beta, so reminder to go do that.
You have. Yeah, okay.
That's brave.
That is brave. That's very brave.
It's like I'm taking it like a job, and though I'm not getting paid at all, so yay, it's fun. Thanks for having me.
It's good. Nice. Do that. And then finally, we have Preston. Or if you don't know who Preston is, Brazil and what is it, Big Nose Ted or something?
Oh yeah,
that guy from the main story.
Yeah, that's my latest creation. Hello gamers. I used to make hardcore Guild Wars 2 content videos and try to teach the community about different things, and people either didn't listen or listened way too much, and it was a disaster overall, but it was fun. But yeah, I'm a photographer now, do a lot of cool stuff. A lot of fun stuff, a lot of hard stuff, and I'm back to Guild Wars 2 stuff as well. You can find me everywhere at UWV_Preston, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. It's me.
And we can drop your photography site as well.
Oh yeah,
one of those.
It's underworldvideo.com. You can check out my long-term projects. You can buy prints too if you want to give me money. They are like
products, yeah. I mean, that's true, yeah. Sell it, my friend. Awesome. Yeah, Underworldproject.com, is it?
No, underworldvideo.com.
Underworldvideo.com.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get that in the things as well. You put it in the Discord now, so I don't forget.
In the Discord, yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely put that in. Awesome. We got a wide mix of creators here, peeps. This is very, very good.
What did you just call me?
Creators.
Wide.
No, wide variety, not wide.
That's me.
Not you. Okay, let's go through what was a very interesting guild chat. Actually, this is what we're gonna start with. Okay, this is what we're gonna start with. I want one word, and bear in mind that the beginning of guild chat was okay. All right, so this LightBringers is going to mostly cover the guild chat, which was a lot of gameplay overview, we're calling it, because I think there's a little bit of confusion about what it was really. Although it probably pretty much was. A word, and don't be too brutal, I guess, but like, I mean, you can if you really, really want to, but maybe no swearing, Crichton Herald. I'm pulling you up on this. If you say it's okay, I'm gonna swear it's gonna be fine. But first, Fornex, if you want to tell us like one word, how do you feel about that guild chat? And don't do croof and suddenly start making an entire sentence that isn't one word.
That was Rook. That was not me that time.
Wow.
You did it once. You did do it once. I have a memory.
Okay, one word.
Yeah.
Underwhelmed. Sorry.
Ooh, okay. Maybe still someone else is there. Croof. The podcast is still alive if you're listening.
Dead air. That would be my word.
You can't.
It's like an onomatopoeia.
Okay, so more of the sounding word, like the
yeah.
I get you. Okay, so EUGH question mark.
Yeah, we'll add a Z at the end of there just to be fun.
Okay, as I don't know. Okay, fine, that works. Preston, word.
Confusing.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna add my word, bamboozled.
Oh.
Bamboozled.
Are we prepping for the SATs or something? These are big words, people.
I mean, I think bamboozled feels like it was an Apex came in and a lot of people started using bamboozled a lot more, which I'm fine with. Bamboozled is a great word. Yeah, if you're wondering why, we're going to talk about it. Because it was very odd how we had the countdown and we were excited. You know, we know that this is the last live stream of the year, like before the expansion comes out in February, and then 28th of January is the next one, which is another weird thing. I'm not sure. I don't understand that either. I mean, I know like heavy work in the expansion, they want to really, really focus on it, but it feels like they've done this amazing work up to now of like just giving us loads of info. And then all of a sudden, it's just going to really die off. And I feel really bad saying this. I feel like it happened during the stream. And I'm just like, I don't know. But this is exciting. Like they showed off the trailer for the Guildhall. What did people think about the actual trailer for the Guildhall we saw earlier in the week? Fun times? Like it? Not bothered?
The trailer was really beautiful when they released it this week. It was a nice surprise. I'd actually forgot that we were getting a live stream this week because of the betas, but
yeah,
it was a pretty good Guildhall trailer. I think it was much better than the Path of Fire one, because this one you felt like there were people in it, there was motion, there was action on camera, and it did showcase just aesthetically something that I prefer more than the Path of Fire's Guildhall. So I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Okay.
No, I largely agree. I think it's a beautiful Guildhall, but as we said when we were like watching this thing, the art team are just spectacular every time. So you're never going to get any complaints from me about how the game looks and the environments. They're just beautiful, you know.
Yeah, I think we'll hold out on the actual mechanics and whether or not that's going to be something we use quite often again till later as we delve deeper. Preston, did you see the trailer this week at all? Or like, I know Guildhalls aren't a massive thing you're into, but
no, I definitely did see the trailer earlier this week, and I liked the trailer for the Guildhall more than I liked the stream of the Guildhall. I'm not trying to be like brutal or anything.
No,
but
I mean that's fair.
Yeah, I said that same thing for the Echo Forest stream. So
yeah, exactly. We've had exactly the same comments for various things, and funnily enough, and I'll add my own, because this next part of the stream which is coming up, which we've got. If you're watching this video, wise on Spotify or YouTube or Twitch or wherever else, and you can't, or you are just listening, we're going to be talking about Legendaries quite soon, but. I don't know. I when I watched the actual trailer, I was like, yeah, exactly. Like I was really, really hyped for the trailer because like there was people because we haven't been seeing many NPCs or players or anything in the actual gameplay we've seen when they've been doing a live stream. So I was like, it has felt empty and it doesn't feel like an MMORPG, which is weird. And with the trailer, it was just like, yeah, there's loads of people. It feels alive, you know, in a guild hall trailer. You want to see players. You want to see that interaction in the art style and everything else. And it just looks so good. And then, yeah, we'll talk about what they showed. It is beautiful. Like, it looks great. But, you know, someone said it in chat room style, you know, the problem has never been them looking good or, you know, the start of this experience. That's never been the problem. The problem has been sustainability and consistency in content within this hall, within guilds, and I think that's still a very big issue that they have, which I still think they aren't addressing. But they're doing very well in other areas of the game, so you know that keeps us distracted. But yeah,
I wanted to see just as kind of an add-on to what you were saying, like the art style has never been an issue, and trailers give us the visuals of the guild hall, so we understand like if we're gonna like the aesthetic or if we're not, if we're gonna move or if we're not. I was really expecting and hoping for something a bit more concrete in terms of like announcements of if they are going to continue to add guild missions, if they're going to incorporate strike missions into the guild system somehow, because guild halls, even in Path of Fire, like they added a new guild hall, and they didn't do anything with it really. So I don't think a lot of people use the guild halls. So it's almost like I almost didn't want a guild hall with this expansion because I had the impression that they were going to do exactly what they're doing now, where it's going to be wasted time almost to just create a map that looks pretty but will inevitably be forgotten and not populated.
Yeah, they're adding no new utility. It's kind of funny. So in reality, in the game, the guild hall is a ghost town and the maps are alive. And in all the previews, the maps are a ghost town and the only place that's alive that we've seen is the guild hall. It's a bit jarring, really.
Well, they should. You made a good point earlier about having the infrastructure for like decorations and sitting down and chairs and player housing. We just don't have player housing. You should just be able to claim a plot in the guild hall and build a house in there. Like, why not do something like that? That's easy mode. There are already houses in the new guild hall that you can like walk up to. It's like a little Pokemon town. It's full of houses. Why not just do something like that? Easy.
A little apartment tower where each guild member can kind of get their own room on a floor, and then you can enter and see how they've been decorating it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done my best with my guild. Every member has decorating rights. The only rule is that you can't pick up anything that somebody else has put down, to try and encourage people to actually participate and use the guild hall for roleplay and activities and parties and puzzles and things like that. I think Wooden Potatoes Guild does a lot of that, but he's got like a massive tribe that follows him and deals with all the stuff for him as well. But yeah, I think it's a complete missed opportunity. They have the complete infrastructure to just slot in this feature. They wouldn't have to make new assets. They've already got the placing system down. I don't know why we don't have player housing. It's bizarre.
Because it's literally in every single, I think Elder Scrolls Online, I know, and I keep comparing Guild Wars 2 to this because it is probably one of the biggest successes of that game is player housing. And I think Final Fantasy is pretty big as well. And I don't know if anyone played Rift back in the day, but damn, their playing housing was amazing. You could build houses. You were just given land and then go ham with your guild house. I mean, but like you could give people areas like kind of Preston's saying, and that's what we did. We just built floors. I think one of my first ever YouTube videos was me touring my Rift house, my Rift guild house. And it didn't look great because at the time, like, you know, the assets weren't good, but after a while, like, you know, their big live streams were all about the housing, and it was just so good. And just provide items and sell that stuff on the gem store. Like, people will buy that stuff, like sell it. Like, this isn't easy. I don't want to say, you know, I know people will be like, well, I want to earn it in game. Yes, earn it in game, but also just like sell some stuff on the gem store. That's how you can make some more money for the game. Like, people who will buy that stuff. Exactly. It's more specific, and it's not based off of, you're not getting any extra power, you're not getting any, it's just a skin, it's just a look of something. Like, I feel when you said like a missed opportunity for Onyx, I was like, yes, It really is, but it's also just a really big missed opportunity to make some extra money. God damn it!
And they have their economic plan in terms of what they sell completely backwards, because you're only able to acquire decorations in game.
Mm-hmm.
That would be perfect on the gem store, but you can only acquire mounts on the gem store, which is what people want to be earning in game.
Yeah,
So
it is
they really
completely
have it
ass about
flipped
face.
up. Yeah,
It is.
it's
Yeah.
just, it's so confusing because it's like that's objectively what works throughout the years, and for other games it's like, why try to flip them?
It's such an easy slot in feature. Have housing decorations drop in raids, have it drop in World v World, integrate it into the different game types, have masteries for it so you can have bigger houses. I mean, this is such an easy build on feature that people have been asking for since the game landed. I am baffled.
Actually, I was playing New World the other day, and I was just, that could be unfortunate experience sometimes. Still a great game. The bones of it really good, but I was just battling my way through a ton of mobs. It's quite difficult, and then all of a sudden I got this drop, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" And I've got this like epic chair that goes for like a ton of money, and I was like, "Damn, that's pretty cool." Like I get this chair, or I get this table, or I get like a recipe to make some kind of furniture which isn't available anywhere else, and I'm just like, this kind of content has value. Like, it can get people to spend time in other places in the game, like you've kind of all been saying, and it just feels I don't know, I don't understand this disconnect, and I don't know if it's like a tech problem or like a server stability issue or an instancing issue or anything like that, but like they've got so many instances in the game, and I feel like they do that well anyway. I don't see there's I don't know.
I'm having flashbacks to garrisons in World of Warcraft. That was just the worst launch in human history, I think.
What happened with garrisons? And I can't remember what happened. I know that didn't go well.
Boring.
Oh, it was boring.
God.
The entire game was just sitting in a garrison playing a Facebook game.
And
really?
the first day that it launched, it just broke the world. It just broke the world. Everyone trying to get in on the same spot. They had a single spawning spot, and it just, it was a complete cluster.
Everyone was just on top of each other in the open world. It wasn't like a separate instance. You got phased into it, but it was like very strange the way they did it.
World of Warcraft, by the way.
Yeah, World of Warcraft.
You don't know what WoW is. Sorry,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really odd. Like, I mean, again, I can't remember what in Final Fantasy XIV what you do in guild halls or your housing that makes you want to go there, but I know in Elder Scrolls Online, you can craft different armor sets by going to different zones specifically. Like, you can't craft a specific set of armor and weapons if you just sit in the town, right? You have to go to a zone, but you can replicate that in your hall, in your guild hall. Okay. Or in your own instance, so you can put different. So a lot of reasons why people add, say, one of the biggest streamers on the directory is because they have every single crafting bench for every single armor set there is, and we're talking about, you need silk, you need leather, you need armor smith, or you need blacksmith. So that's every single set for every single type. So you can imagine how many tables there are, and they've got it alphabetically, and they've got letters, and they've got signs, and it's just like you see tons of people just running in there, crafting tons of stuff, and it's just like really, really awesome. And people are like made these amazing like just scenes from movies and stuff, and I'm just like, damn, like people could be doing this stuff, and they would do it. Like, people do this stuff all the time.
So
I don't know.
I can tell you what some of the housing is used for in Final Fantasy, but I wanna trigger warning, content warning. So the housing system is amazing in Final Fantasy, one of the best I've ever experienced. And there's guild housing where you can have a room, and you can do a room, and you can build things as a guild, and there's a shared area with banks and inventory and merchants and that kind of thing. But you can have personal player housing, and people build mansions, and they build nightclubs, and there are, I'm going to use the word, courtesans that you pay for, and there's
Interesting.
consensual things happening in the game, and this is all based around this one single game type, and it's all based around housing and the decoration. There's whole like guilds dedicated to decorating, and a load of stuff drops at endgame, and it's if you ask one of the biggest streamers online, Asmongold, that is the end game of end games. So
But there's an economy for it too. There are people that are professional decorators that you can pay to come and decorate your house.
Mm-hmm.
And even like having the capability to also purchase like NPCs to come to guild halls would be a really interesting gem store feature. Like and they could have like dialogue, and it'd be something more flavorful. But yeah, people would really enjoy those like world building and more customization options. But in player housing, that would also be like a really great addition where you have like guests come over every hour or something, and like there's a bunch of different models.
Yes.
I mean, so if you were thinking that to try and sort of integrate the Final Fantasy model into Guild Wars 2, there were different districts of different houses with different aesthetics for the houses for the different areas. So you could have Asuran-themed houses, you can have human-themed houses, you could have Char-themed homes, and they could all be completely different cultural sets. Plus the fact they've got all these items already made. There's no more work time and pipeline that they need to have. But I think maybe we're flogging a dead horse here.
I mean, that's unfortunately the one, isn't it? It's like, I think we've talked about this so many times. It's nice to hear different people's opinions on it, like hearing both of I've heard Chris' opinion on it, but like even new ones as we talk about this. I mean, we've definitely talked about this, Chris. We've definitely talked about this.
100%.
Not that I am not, don't want to hear it, because I always want to hear your opinions. They're good.
No, it's okay. You can tell me to my face. It's fine.
I mean, I think
Technically for a
Brazil's
stream,
eyes
it's
lit up when I said courtesan, so this could even get a hardcore gamer into the housing market.
There
I mean,
you
come
go.
on.
I need them to take me into dungeons. I need them to show me the way to the portal.
Emphasis.
Just remember your safe word, okay?
Wow.
Excellent.
Emphasis on
I'm way too
hardcore.
strong for one of those. I can't be broken.
Okay, as we continue through the podcast. The thing is, like, people think, oh yeah, Jebro streams, 2 PMA, all this kind of stuff. Like, I swear, like, it's all about double entendre. It's all about euphemisms. It's all about metaphor. It's all about that kind of stuff. Okay.
Double entendre. Interesting.
Yes. I've said it differently, apparently. So how it's supposed to be said. I keep saying it differently. I don't know. I say it like they say in Bottom Live. I don't know if you've ever seen that. And they may have sounded like some kind of other show, but I'm going to stop talking. Let's talk about the Legendaries. So they started talking about...
Quick before you lose more of your testicles. I don't think you've got much left.
I know. They're being sacrificed right now. This was a really, really good part of the stream. So they suddenly dropped this bomb on us that the Legendaries, and they showed a part of the preview that we saw months and months and months ago, who had, and we're going to see their name when it comes up in a second, but it was just like, oh, the Aurene Legendaries, they're a thing. People were happy, sad, and everything else. Comments of it's just going to be another Black Lion kind of skin themed thing, and it was like, okay, Chelsea Mills, there we go. And no, that's actually not true at all. One, the Aurene weapon skins actually look very good in the game, to be fair. Even though it's not my aesthetic, I still think I can definitely appreciate it. And actually, maybe I would even be able to come up with some kind of look around a character for this, and it's interesting. But...
Sorry.
that gasps.
Was that a yawn?
We found... Oh, was it a yawn? Or was it a gasp?
No, it was genuinely a fake gasp. Carry on.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
I was like,
Wow,
same.
rude.
L shock. Yeah.
But then we got suddenly revealed that these items are going to magically, it's not just going to be Aurene themed, but we're going to have different dragon themes around these weapons and skins wise. So you're going to earn the base legendary, which is the Aurene's skin version of this legendary. which is supposed to depict and like kind of be an, I guess, representative of your journey with Aurene from birth to mining node to to being alive again. We'll talk about that later. And now you can just but now like the magic can go from other dragons into these weapons, and it can just look like something completely different. Like, what? Does anyone else want to kind of add to my own kind of like wonderment and what?
Well, it is really puzzling to me that they revealed the legendaries first, which felt like what people were really pumped up about, and the rest of the stream was walking around maps with chars jumping on statues.
Yeah,
I feel like they could have done that at the first while people are still kind of trickling in, and they're finding time to make for the stream, and then at the end of it they're like, oh yeah, by the way, here's all this cool legendary stuff, and it's not just Aurene legendaries. You can have a Zeitung legendary, you can have a Mordremoth legendary, and people would have lost their minds and freaked out, and then they're like, okay, bye, we'll see you next year, no more streams until then, here's a teaser. It's just, It feels weird that they just like unloaded just right at the beginning, and then they were just, the rest of it was really just kind of boring.
Yeah. Completely ass about face again. The money shot, they just
They should have definitely swapped the order in which they talked about things. Nevertheless, I am happy to hear that there will be more to these legendary weapons than what was first anticipated.
Yeah.
I know Aurene as a character, some people like, some people don't like. Aesthetically, it's a very particular niche of visual because it's very just like sparkly, transparent prisms, all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it definitely has a legendary quality to it. But now that it's been revealed that you will be able to get the other dragon variants, I think this will create much more demand for the legendaries themselves. And I wonder if like each of them will be their own like slot in the wardrobe, or like as an equipment piece, or if it's going to just be something that is almost like a die channel where you just like swap to the different effects. That's the thing, I wanted to know more about like how this will actually function, because they had mentioned that we're going to get the Aurene type, and then we're going to go on a couple other like adventures to acquire the other skins. But does that mean like just unlocking it as a wardrobe, or is that like another legendary greatsword that we can then sell on the trading post? I don't know.
I think the skins are different. I think the skins are specifically gonna be our own journey things. I feel like that's maybe where I think the base you can probably trade, and like the precursor, like they said. But I think that would make it more unique.
Possibly, but it would also make them extremely valuable if people wanted to farm them. And like, maybe the hardest one to get would be the Zeitung one. And then you get the Zeitung one, you sell it for a lot, and then you can just like...
So what you're saying is that you make the base one, but then you attune that to a specific magic, and then that skin is the one you sell.
Yeah.
Damn.
These are just like ideas, but I'm like, these are more so questions about how the reskinning or the acquisition would work. But
that's very interesting.
This was the time to kind of talk about it, and they
didn't.
They announced it, but they didn't talk much about it.
I mean, it's arguably the most exciting, interesting part about the whole stream, and it was over before it started. It's
A little bit.
I'm gonna hark on this part of the stream actually quite a lot, to be honest, because I'm actually, this is the part I'm probably personally most excited about. I don't know if we all agree. Do we all agree? Maybe that are we all probably the most excited about this part of the stream that happened?
Yeah. Out of the stream, this is the most exciting.
I think so. I mean, like, look, I've got the. Again, I hate Twitch VODs because they grey out everything in the big massive play button in the middle. But you can see like the Mordremoth version, adds. It's not just a recolor. and there are parts of it. I was looking at the hilt of the sword. The hilt is the same. Like, there is the base model of the greatsword, which makes complete sense, but then they've almost reskinned and textured it so you can see like little brambles over it. You know, you can see the iconic kind of fawn thing, whatever. And you've got a leaf there. You've got leaves coming off from like trees and bushes or whatever. And it looks very good. If you look at the fire version as well, that is very, very awesome. You know, is it every Elder Dragon then?
Yeah. They showed off 5 variants of the ones that we know.
Damn.
They didn't show off anything that like suggests the deep sea dragon, but I don't think they would spoil that.
That's a good point.
And a minor other thing about just like questions or, you know, how we would go about acquiring this. I kind of hope that if you want to go for a specific skin, you would have to go back to that expansion area to do stuff in there. So if you wanted the Mordremoth Greatsword, you would have to go back and do like a quest chain in like Dragon's Stand or something and like bring more life into the areas that you already have. So that would be a truly legendary journey. I think it would be a little sad if we just went to the Jade Sea and just like threw our sword into a block of jade and was like, oh, now it's Zeitung.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that. I don't think that's going to be it. I think it's definitely going to be, well, please.
I hope not.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think sometimes we say that, right? And we're just like, I don't think it's going to be because we hope it's not going to be. And then we try and like think it and word it into existence almost. Please don't be
raw
that.
selling is going to be back.
What? Sorry?
Raw selling is going to be back.
I mean, yes. Why the hell not? Please, like, do it. Like, I mean, you know, I mean, if it's, I think that is fine, that kind of stuff. If it's for gold in the game, I mean, it's part of the economy, right?
And Talk
okay.
British had mentioned, like, it would be questionable to need previous expansions. No, it wouldn't. I mean, it would just incentivize you purchasing the expansions. It's like, you don't need these skins.
They're so cheap now.
Yeah, skins are
so
already locked behind expansions. So it would just incentivize people who already have the expansions and incentivize you to even purchase them in a bundle or something.
You've already got legendaries locked behind Heart of Thorns, haven't you? Like that journey you can't do outside of it.
I think I'm about to piss on all of your chips because what is the percentage probability that they're going to just have us do a long treasure hunt fetch quest? Hands up.
100.
No. Come on. Like they did the legendary journey for the gen stuff from Heart of Thorns pretty well, apparently. I have not experienced a person who hasn't enjoyed doing that so far, unless one of yourselves has not enjoyed that.
Legendary. It depends on the legendary you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because like
I've done
what has a storyline, but the other
I've done that one as well. Yeah, I did Nevermore as well. So I've crafted 4 legendaries, it's fun, and I even did the story part of the Bifrost with the Jotun, which I liked. But in terms of like feeling like a legendary journey, you have to kind of be in that headspace yourself. They don't give you going and clicking on a stone and reading some text can be great, but you know, it's
yeah.
I would want more. Because I'm
content.
a selfish brat, yeah.
Like, give us content. Give us something to do. Which I feel like when you look at things like Final Fantasy XIV, Endwalker is launching today. And
it's out,
there's so much content. Final Fantasy XIV is revered for having the things to do. And legendary weapons are a great vehicle to add these quest lines, which they were doing with Chuka and Champawat and the original 3 Hearted Thorns. And I think because we don't have a variety of skins, it's kind of just one set with different textures and effects. Subsidizing that and compensating for the lack of diversity by giving us quest lines to go through, I think is a perfect area to go down. It's a perfect road to go down.
Can I address chat for a second? I am not Southern. I am a Cumbrian. Okay, sorry. Carry on.
Okay, there we go. There was the further
Just-
part of the accent coming out.
Sorry.
Excellent job. No, that's okay. That's
Cumbrian.
okay.
Yeah.
But where is Cumbria in the state like that? Then you have to say that because like probably no one knows where that is other than people who are English.
Okay, so that's like if you spit too far, you hit Scotland. That's just right on the border
There you go.
of Scotland, right in the north of England.
There you go, peeps.
Midlands, just above the Midlands, no, right above, like away from the south, far away. Sorry. I apologize for hijacking the stream. Continue to talk about legendary weapons now, please. Sorry.
As you keep talking about it, your accent gets more thick.
It did actually.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, that was quite wonderful.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
I know.
The blog post is on for the legendary.
Yay.
Really? Okay. Well, do we?
Why would they? Oh, why would they? Hold on. I have to look at this in Google Chrome because Firefox won't load it for some reason. Like, did they? Please don't tell me that they showed the legendaries for 25 seconds on stream, and then they're like, "Oh, hey, now you get to go read a blog post about more of the details."
Yeah, of course they
Is
did.
that what they did?
Yeah, of course it is.
Like, really?
They do that a lot, though. They do that a lot. They did it with the elite specs as well. The reason you can't see anything at the moment is peeps is because I'm gonna go to the website and we're gonna look at it because it will give us more info. Have a look. Yeah, this closer look should have been a stream, right?
Okay.
Oh my!
They have mentioned that there will be more information on how to acquire each version later in this blog. Oh wait, I thought they were gonna say like later down the line in the months, but never mind.
That is a lot of information.
It's a lot.
All right. I mean, I don't want to read this now because I can't be bothered. But maybe we can kind of dissect it as we go through. If people want to pick out quotes, read of Geek, thank you very much. Damn it, I wish I had my cameras at a different place. It's awkwardly. Actually, we could change this completely.
Finishing the story in Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons will unlock the ability to learn to craft all of this generation's precursors. You can make them for yourself or sell them for profit. Everyone can also earn a precursor weapon by completing the Living World Return achievements. Once you got your precursor, you will need to present it along with some gifts to Zamaros through the Mystic Forge. Some gifts, however, will require newer resources which can be found through activities such as fishing. None of them will require finishing renowned hearts every day, but many of them can be sold on the trading post. So if you don't like fishing, you can buy them.
There you go.
And so it's basically a journey, but I don't think they mention how to acquire the different versions.
They have
Might come later.
Okay, they give you an explanation of what a legendary is as well. Look at the Zeitung skin though.
It has teeth on it. I love that.
Yeah, how cool is that? That reminds me of that Reaper sword ascended thing, but that wasn't actual teeth. That is very cool.
Do you think that them going back on their kind of ethos for the second generation with I think the community backlash that they couldn't buy them and they couldn't sell them, do you think this is a direct response to that?
Well, I think it's going to generate a lot of gem sales because the legendary armory is amazing, and people that are just coming to the game get that pack with like 4,000 gems for the Ultimate Edition, and then they can just immediately convert it to gold and buy half of a legendary. But I don't know. That's my thought. I think they saw that people would pay a lot of money for it. And the bots are going away, so prices are going to go up, so even more gem sales.
Yeah, that's right. There was something about that, wasn't it? I was watching that video. Teapot did and stuff like bots. The guy stopped making the bot, or stopped like issuing it out or something, or what was the deal with that?
There's a little bit of drama. If you want to get into it, I can get into it a little bit.
I mean, just a basic TLDR would be good. Like, we don't need to get into the drama of it, but
so basically there were thousands of bots.
Okay, yeah, well, I definitely know that in PvP.
There aren't going to be any bots anymore.
Okay.
That's the ultimate TLDR.
There you go. Well, and that's It's good for the game, but actually, like for materials and stuff, sometimes it can kind of not be good. I don't know. It sounds weird, but like
Onion prices are going to go up. My investment's going to pay off.
I was gonna say, you keep talking about onions.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to actually leak this right now. Legendary food is coming, and some of them require onions. So onions are going to go up in price.
There you go.
It's okay if you don't believe me. You'll be proven wrong.
You heard it here first, people. Stock up on your onions.
Yep.
Onions are an important part of like most foods, like good foods. It's true.
I only like when they're cooked and fried. Some
I
people
like them when they're rings.
Oh, onion rings are good.
Oh, and you dip them in ranch. Oh.
Mayonnaise. Let's go.
Ah.
Can confirm legendary flatulence. Awesome.
I mean, when you play an Untamed, are you never not a legendary flatulence?
That's true.
Ooh,
What is that
Untamed.
big AoE? Like I was oh my god, let's get into it. We can talk about the beta as well. Oh dear. Through the prison visual effects. The visual effects were very good. I approve of that. This is where I'm like, blog post, give me video. Give me video, man. Like we're living in like, I don't know, early 2000s, late 90s right now. I'm just like some screenshots. That's cool, but give me some damn video, man. Like give me some video of each one. Like do that fancy twirly thing you did on the stream. I don't know.
What the best time to do a video showcase of this was?
I don't know when
On
it
the
was.
live stream.
Oh,
stream.
funny
On the
that.
live
You know, that actually makes some sense.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
I would have loved to have seen all of the Oreen weapons and just actually like finally understand what I want to go for. Because like, when would they showcase another blog post like actually showing off all of the weapons?
Is there a distinct possibility that with jumping the gun, they saw the reaction to the Fluffy Kittens, Twinkly Star legendaries, went, oh, shirt balls, and said, we're going to make them in all these different colours and we're going to do all this. Give me some art now, art team, so I can at least show some weapons, and then they're going to be quietly working on it like dam busters right now before the expansion hits. I mean, and that's why we got 2 seconds of instant awesomeness, and then let's move on with what we've actually got ready to show you.
Yeah, but there's all this stuff though. There's all of this written material here which they could have embellished on and just like talked about. Do you know what I mean? So they could have talked about it for longer. And even if they weren't, like, I feel like they've been kind of honest about. I think you're right. Like, if this was a more recent thing, then you know they've definitely not got the asset. But it still feels like, you know, they could have pulled out every single Oreen legendary. I feel like they probably mostly done. They've got those done. Like, pull out the ones you got, like show off like a ton of them. Show off like, you know, the unique effects of like what's it like if an engineer uses the legendary rifle, for example, and they're a core engineer and they throw grenade barrage. You know, what does that look like? You know, what does it look like if you've got like a long range hammer, for example? You know, that kind of thing, just really showing us like for each and every single person that's in the chat, representing them in a way in the game where they can see their legendary version of Oreen weapon and be like, whoa, that's awesome. I don't think that would be too much either. I don't know, but I don't know, maybe you're right, Fornax, I don't know. You're right.
Sorry. In head, the little script going, so Jedbro is super thirsty for the weapon of Zeitung. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am.
Show me that weapon. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he
I'm gonna buy
was
it.
underwater, so he must be very thirsty, no longer being underwater.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
But yeah, do you feel like the addition of having different Elder Dragon versions, do you think that this was planned all along, or do you think that this is a reactionary decision from seeing the community's response when they first announced Legendaries?
This is a very interesting topic to talk about and think about, because I think Fornax is in that opinion that that's the case. Is that how you feel?
A bit of column A, a bit of column B.
Okay.
I think maybe they were planning further on down the line to maybe have these other legendaries or have this evolution, and they've had to kind of bring the announcement forward. Or, I mean, it really could have been an oh shit moment, you know.
I mean,
that
like
we really want this expansion to sell, and that one of the primary selling points, which is legendary weapons, has just fallen flat on its face. We have to do something.
have we just but have we? But this is where my bamboozled comes from, or did we just get completely bamboozled? Did we just get completely like
I think
waylaid by
that this might
info?
have. I get. Of course, I'm not saying like anything that I'm saying is like against developers or like this was a bad thing. I just get the impression that this might have been reactionary because during the first look live stream, they did really show off everything that we have seen so far. Like we got word of skiffs and fishing and the siege turtle. They didn't really hide anything from us then. And I think with the legendary weapons, it would have been wise to announce at that time that there would be other variants, because they didn't even mention any variants at that first look live stream. They were just like, we have created a set based off of Aurene, period. They weren't like this package of variants is Aurene based. So I'm not sure if this was, I think this could have been like a great, I don't know, but either way, I'm still happy to see it. But now it's more just like thought wise, what was a decision out of a reaction and what was planned?
I mean, so if I was playing this, I mean, I'm not exactly a salesman, but if I was playing this, when I first announced them, I'd go, but there's more to this, so stay tuned, right? You'd give a little tasty so that people would come back for more. And that because that wasn't there in the first place, it makes me worry that they've just beaten their art team to death to kind of get this done. And there's like people dying at their desks because they've just been making this art and content for us. It's kind of worrying.
I don't know if ArenaNet is that company. I don't know if
Possibly not.
I don't know if they're that company.
Uh,
But there's probably, I would say there is definitely like, strict timelines sometimes. I think that's the case with any company and business. So it's a possibility,
Yeah.
but
Sure. They're not CDPR for sure.
no.
We don't want them to going back to making living world updates where you repair signposts.
Oh God. I mean, I think that was a product of their own downfall in wanting to produce like that amount of content in that amount of time. Like fair play for giving it a go, like every 2 weeks was just like mind blowing, right? But what are you going to be able to produce? And I think that was the resulting content, right?
Yeah, and I mean now we
it.
get now we get an update every year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I was exhausted trying to keep up with their content. I don't know what they were doing trying to make it. I was knackered just trying to keep up with it when the game first launched. It was crazy.
That's something you need to like fully complete the season a year in advance and then trickle it out every 2 or 3 weeks. But like actively developing that, that was very risky.
I did love the Sarsung Cove idea, and like I loved that whole thing. It just broke the game though. It was just like, I remember the PowerPoint. The excitement, and that was probably one of the most exciting times I've had in Guild Wars 2 though. Like that whole event the idea behind it was so good, the Karka and everything else, and like just this one live event that's happening just at this one time to get so many people into the game was pretty cool. And it reminded me of World of Warcraft, of when like the portal opened to first expansion. Yeah, it was just like, it was such an epic moment. It's just such a shame it didn't work. But I mean, they learned their lesson, and they've done better with Anyway, think about it.
It spawned a complete sea change, didn't it? Because they wanted to have one-off content all the time, and now it's one of the most replayable games in the industry for story content.
Mm-hmm.
It's a complete about face.
Well, Legendaries. Is there anything else we want to add? They look good. I'm happy with that. They look cool. I just wanted to see maybe some looks on them, but I think I don't maybe know that they're at that stage. I think there's something that I am concerned about personally is the fact that they keep saying, this is a work in progress, and we've got lots to do. And I'm like, 2 or 3 months ago, I was like, yeah, you've still got a fair amount of time. You got 2 months-ish, 2.5 months, or depending when it launches in February. I think it's late February, right?
Yeah.
It's 22nd.
We've got.
It'll be the 25th.
I think it's going to get delayed.
I think it's going to get delayed.
100%. Because they're about to have 2 weeks off for the holidays.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a minimum of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to have people that probably take the whole month. They're going to use all their vacation time that they've been saving and just take off the whole month of December.
I mean, with COVID and everything else, I just think, yes, why the hell wouldn't you? I mean, I think anyone would if you've got it.
Malenko in chat pointed out something yet. Like, they haven't given us a date, and you would expect, like, this close, we would have a date, but they might not be sharing a date because they might be like, oh, there's a possibility we might have to delay it a couple weeks or something.
Mm-hmm. And that's fine. I actually don't care. Like, I think we're so close to it now that I really don't care if it gets delayed. But I think hearing the constant, like, we've got so much to do does give me a little bit of anxiety in terms of, is there going to be is this just them? Is this just a comment? There's just and it doesn't mean anything, or is it just like, you know, wow, we do actually have a lot to do, and we're going to be busy as hell, and oh dear, because there is a lot in there. I don't know.
Sorry, after you, Ku.
Okay, I think that we'll know more come January. I think by the end of January, they will have to at least, I imagine they would announce it at least a month in advance to lessen the social kickback from such an announcement of delaying the game.
I don't think they'll get a kickback. I actually don't think they will.
Well, some people, gamers, Reddit,
some people
do
will.
not like when things are delayed, especially when it was already delayed and supposed to come like in December of this year. It was delayed 2 months. So but I also think that those comments might just be a little bit figure of speech hyperbolic, because Guild Wars 2 is a really large game. And so, like, when you think about it, there's a lot of systems going on, but in terms of timeline, they might be like pretty close to the end. It's just more so just hitting all the different departments.
I mean, personally for me, I would rather they took their time and finished it than we lose features and we lose content because they have to drop it because they want to polish like the main central of the game. Like, we lost the Zeitung dungeon of actually killing Zeitung after he'd gone down in the ship in the first vanilla game because they just ran out of time, and that would have been amazing. That would have actually been the fight that we all wanted to have, rather than the stupid ship and the cannons. And I don't want to see that again because I actually love the game, you know?
Yeah.
And we already lost Tengu this round.
I actually need to go back into this and check it out because I had planned to at one time. But there's a whole arena, I'm pretty sure, set up in a raw right outside of where you like shoot Zeitung out of the air. And if I had to guess, probably you were supposed to shoot him down and then go in and fight him. Yeah. And I have to install third-party software so I can fly over there and go see. But
yeah, there is a point of interest in the game where it's more of like where Zeitung would be laying to either go see his dead body or like deliver the final blow.
They showed it in one of the very, very early trailers. It was the mouth. Yeah, it was the mouth of Zeitung, and he was kind of coiled round in this like rocky area. And yeah, we lost that because of delays, because of they just ran out of time.
It was like that dragon corpse with the red portal in it. And then that was old Zeitung design. They changed the model later on in development, but
damn. I mean, that kind of thing changing as well happens a lot, I guess. Early trailers and whatnot. I guess it can least the disappointment in the end with what we got. I mean, I didn't mind the whole original story, I guess, too much, but yeah, the end was a little bit unfortunate. At least we get to have a legendary weapon, though. That has the essence of Zeitung. I mean, maybe that'll make up for it a little tiny bit, because at least, it looks good. I don't really know what else to say about that.
Or they resurrect that dungeon that we lost, and we get to finally go there to fulfill the weapon quest. That would be pretty awesome.
Maybe that's how they redo the Zeitung fight.
Maybe.
They update it. You enter the scrying pool and you have to kill Zeitung, and then you get the legendary variant. I don't know.
See, that kind of thinking and that kind of stuff to like alter old content would be like really, really good. There's loads of old content where I'm just thinking like, yeah, revamping this. Maybe, you know, there's a way that they can bring back the old Lion's Arch. I don't know.
Don't tease me. Don't tease me, you bastard.
Old
Okay.
Lion's Arch is so good, and New Lion's Arch is so bad.
I just, yeah, we've talked about this a few times.
Oh, I hate it. I hate it.
But the new Lion's Arch is an aesthetic that some people do enjoy, and I understand that, but I think it's a very small minority of people. I think like the old LA was just so unique in I think it just filled I don't know, it was just cool. Like it was just like, it was like, you know, it just loads of old ships knocked into, you know, it's just an epic place. Like the battle for LA was awesome as well. I remember that. That was so good.
Yeah. We went from landlocked ships in the sky to concrete jungle and a fucking giant squid. I mean, Jesus Christ. It's rubbish. Sorry, guys. I love you acting, but holy shitballs. Christ, it's
Monax
awful.
does not vibe with the squid.
It's like some demented version of Disney, and I am not down for that, okay? No.
It got boring, I think. Like, it was cool to see something different, but then I was like, oh yeah, it feels really sterile. I think that's what it is. It feels like too clean. It feels
Yeah,
like
it is.
weird.
Yeah, original Lion's Arch was dirty and weird and all these little nooks and crannies, and yeah, no, it was much
Starting
better.
to find out a lot more about the Crichton Herald on this show than I it was dirty and weird, and I love dirty and weird. That's fine. How do you feel about it being dirty and weird, Preston? You enjoyed a dirty and weird Lion's Arch, or do you prefer the concrete Disney hell that Crichton Herald has nicely
Back to the
pointed out?
courtesans, sorry.
It depends on which outfit I'm wearing at the time.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, I'm going to investigate Zeitung right now. So I was like, I gotta do this. I gotta see. Because I'm pretty sure there's an arena over here. Wait, explorable and story are different instances, I think.
Yeah,
I think the story
Right.
instance is actually bigger.
it is.
Okay,
Ooh.
we're gonna go do that.
Okay. Interesting.
It won't take me too long to find out. I'm gonna sky scale over to it.
Wait, you said you didn't have a sky scale.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, all right. Don't say anything else. Please don't say anything else.
I thought I was going to be the one to get this demonetized, but congratulations, you in Preston. Well done. Excellent. Yes.
So yeah, that was Legendaries, and now we have the rest of the stream. They did go through the characters, which was quite cool. That was quite good. Again, if you're watching, we're just gonna show a little bit of that. That was cool. That was actually, I completely forgot about this bit.
I amend my answer. The talk about the story and the lore was the best when you look at the execution of what it was. They showed you the model, it gave you a little bit of backstory. Yeah, legendaries are cool. They just didn't deliver enough on it. So I think ultimately this would be my favorite segment. And I actually entirely forgot that this was a part of the stream.
Yeah, same. I think because we'd stop. I think we were all stopped genuinely to listen to each explanation about each character, and they went into depth here, and I don't know why. Like normally I'm not that interested in this kind of stuff because I'd rather find out myself. But I was very interested, and I think maybe it was the high of the legendary stuff as well, so it drew me in for sure. So it's always good to start with something pretty hype and exciting, and then to pull people in and just to so they lean in a little bit more to the content. But then it was slowly over time I think I started to pull back and be like, oh,
You got to have a good sandwich, like something good.
yeah,
The meat and the veggies where it's like, it can be good, but it's there. And then you got to end it on another solid.
yeah. But if we're talking about a sandwich, it has bread at each side. I mean,
I love bread.
is it the middle?
Sometimes it has orange slices and wood glue in the middle.
Wood glue.
Someone sent me someone posted a picture of a sandwich earlier that had tinfoil, orange slices, and wood glue in between two pieces of bread. It was horrifying.
Iron.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. not the kind of sandwich I'd choose to operate with, but I mean,
It's a
maybe
lovely
operate
visit to
with.
the doctors.
Yeah. Well, a long visit to death, probably more actually.
Oh, toxic.
I like the idea of political drama. I mean, I might have had my fill for the entirety of my existence with what's been happening in real life, but I like the idea of political drama. No, but don't watch the news, okay? But I'm kind of worried because of the execution of the Ice Brood. Kind of,
Ooh.
that was. I mean, and here's the truth. I think the content in the Ice Brood was good, but it was just stretched so thin over so much time, So I'm just a bit. I'm scared. I've been hurt, brah.
All right, let's look at Creep's face right now, because there was definitely some facial movement. Because I think there's different opinions about Ice Brood Saga. I was playing Drizzlewood Coast, and I would consider that as a part of the content of Ice Brood Saga, obviously, and I actually really enjoy that map and going through it with the community, as a stage thing, because it feels like almost like a. It feels like actually this is fairly true, and it's true for Dragon's Den and other maps. It feels like a massive multiplayer dungeon which you're working through as a massive group, and you get to the end, you kill the last boss, and you restarts. And it's just but you can replay it every time. I actually really like that idea. Guild Wars 2 still amazes me in terms of how they are able to do these big meta events and get people involved in map design. No other game does that. Literally no other game. Final Fantasy maps, I don't know what it's like later. At the moment, I have no desire to walk around those. Elder Scrolls Online, the story and the questing is amazing, and you explore the world in that way, but you don't join massive events. There's world bosses and stuff, but you just go there, kill a boss, and you're done. It's not that engaging. It's not that difficult.
It's more of a private story, isn't it? It's something you're experiencing personally. Yeah, for
sure. World of Warcraft is the same as it's always been. There's not massive events. I mean, there's events that pop up every so often, but you can get an item or whatever, but it's not dynamic like Guild Wars 2 dynamic. And so Guild Wars 2 does that very unique thing, and I think with Ice Brood Saga, I think a lot of the disappointment comes through the rushed end pacing of the whole story and everything else, and being 200 dragons, dear. But yeah, I don't know.
Ice Brood Saga had a lot of potential. I think everything just fell at Dormag Rising, because it's probably when they shifted a lot of their resources over to End of Dragons. And I don't think, actually, I did not like the DRMs. I don't think the content was actually good, and nor was the story. So actually, I think Ice Brood Saga was one of the more disappointing points. So I agree with you to that degree, Fornax. It's when you leave off on a sour note, it doesn't fill you with hope for the expansion. However, I personally did enjoy somewhat of the political conflicts with the Char early on in the season. So I think they can hit that note. Now it's just a matter of, can they hit it again and in a more interesting way with Cantha?
Better pacing.
Yeah. So I think with more people working on End of Dragons, hopefully the entire package of the story is kind of what Ice Brood Saga was supposed to deliver in terms of quality political issue, with this overarching sense of the world is ending, dragons, magic.
Yeah. I love this game. I have been committed to the franchise for a ridiculous period of time, and I don't want the story of this game to forever be squandered potential. Yeah. It's so for example, World v World. Fantastic game mode, fantastic abilities to group and do PvP with an element of PvE, and there's lots of fun, and there's so many people committed to that game type, and it's completely unique, and yet it's the least loved bastard child of the franchise for some unknown reason. There's just these I guess they've got too many balls in the air, unlike you, Jet. So they've got all these balls.
I like how we keep harking back to my testicles.
I was
that
just
do
wondering
that do
about that one.
exist, everyone. Wow.
I was
Why are we
waiting
getting
for you
so
to say that
bashed by the
joke.
Crying Herald today?
If you did not say that, I would have, because it was right
See,
there.
I'm
It
going to
was
say
just-
it's a thing because you admire me very much and you like my company that you keep being mean to me.
Yeah. I wouldn't
bit
take
lives
the
on.
Michael out of you, honestly, if I didn't respect you so much, so don't worry
Fine.
about it.
All right, whatever.
That's what I'm saying, so you'll invite me back. No? Okay, damn. Yeah.
Fired. So every week someone gets fired, and this week it is the Crying Herald. Proof you're safe.
I'm surprised
That's
I'm the
bullet.
most well-behaved person here. Like,
So
I
I was
going
gonna
to
say earlier, I wasn't gonna lie, but I was like, literally, the Crying Herald is like probably the worst behaved guest I've ever had.
Oh, wow. I gotta put in some
I'm
more
not even
work.
joking. No shade or anything. It's the
Can't have
truth.
it.
God damn. Shit.
I'm so surprised as well. I was like, I've never experienced the Crying Herald like this before. I'm loving it. It's okay. It's all good.
Y'all
And it was
wanted
like Rook as
entertainment?
well.
Y'all clicked on this.
It's
Let's
like, I
go.
swear, anyone that comes on here, and I'm like, oh, they're probably like, they seem really like innocent and lovely and sweet and kind and awesome. And then we get the guests on, and then all of a sudden, they're just absolute filth. And I'm just like, they are just filth mongers, and I'm just like, not surprised anymore. I remember,
Welcome to Untucked. If you're not watching Untucked, you're only getting half the story.
Holy fucking shitballs, that escalated fast. Jesus Christ, dude.
in a nice, kind way. I know this is
I
the
am
place
a
to be.
wonderful person, I promise. I'm just
Oh,
a
yeah,
bit of a
absolutely.
fishwife as well. I'm a
That's
bit of a
okay.
sarcastic bastard. That's
I
who
get
I am.
that. I completely forgot your English as well, so.
This is why everything is scripted, because if I actually spoke, I wouldn't get
I was
any
gonna
money from
say.
YouTube. There you go.
Oh, okay. No, I get it. Alright.
My cheeks hurt from smiling too much. Someone be mean to me, please.
No. Yeah, I don't know what to talk about anymore. I'm not sure where I was. Ice Brewed
Testicles. No,
Saga.
sorry.
No. Ice Brewed Saga and all that kind of stuff. And then we were talking about. There you go. Preston's getting some.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's
Are we going back to Zeitung?
so well, no, because I can't figure out how to get the story instance open, and so I can't go explore. So I didn't do anything against the TOS. Not that I would anyways, because I love the TOS and I've never broken it a single time.
Sure.
But it's the Ice Brewed Saga. Like, I've kind of harked on the story for a really long time, and I thought that a lot of it is just honestly bad.
Okay.
Like, I've thought a lot of the story was just kind of not very good, and it's been, for the most part, not very enjoyable, just because of the character writing. Like, Bram might be the worst written character in any video game ever, including like Battletoads and like Pac-Man. I like the Ghosts and Pac-Man have more story building than Bram does. Seriously. But like Timey, I hate Timey. I just hate all of the characters in the story, and I don't think the story is interesting. But Ice Brewed Saga, like, but it was like, I kind of just joked about it though. It was more just like, I didn't enjoy the story, but I know that people enjoy the story, so I'll just joke about it and whatever. And we can understand that, like, I don't like it and that you do, and that's okay. But Ice Brewed Saga, I legitimately didn't even finish it. I played like 2 episodes, and I thought, this is so bad, I can't be bothered to even complete the rest of it. And I'm probably not going to get the amulet because I just don't want to go do, like, it's a free legendary amulet. Like, I don't care. I'm not going to go play the story to get it because I really don't like the story that much. But it's, I know the people at ArenaNet, like, are good developers. Like, they have a good game. They make a good game. Like, I know some of the story people. Like, they're very capable individuals. I just don't understand. I don't understand the audience for the story. I don't understand the character writing. There's a lot of the stuff that I just don't understand what the demographic is. And it's just so confusing to me because it just feels very juvenile, and it feels very just simple, easy to follow, and it's just kind of messy, I think. I don't know. But yeah, I lost my partnership a long time ago. I'm probably one of the few peoples that had their partnership taken away, but that was me. They didn't like my legendary armor video.
I
That's
mean,
fine.
that was. I think we remember the reason why that was. Yes, indeed.
It was because, well, anyways. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to Google that later. I'm sorry. Carry on.
They were
Yeah.
different times, though. I think they were different times, though. I think they
It's
were.
clearly because you sit on the fence and don't give your opinion. I mean, it's clearly that you're just too tame. That's what's wrong.
We need to say I think that I actually really agree, and that's another point I had never really thought about is like who's the demographic, who's the audience, who are they writing for? Are they writing for like the diehard Guild Wars 2 lore fans? Are they writing to introduce new people in? What tone are they writing in? I really loved Heart of Thorns because it felt like a very serious tone. It felt dark. It felt like there were stakes involved. Iceberg Saga, I did personally. I'm having a stroke. I did personally like the attention to detail with the Char and that political conflict. But I agree with you. The story has been kind of falling flat in terms of stakes and an overall like commitment to a tone in particular.
Commitment to a tone.
With Icebrood Saga, I feel like they actually started out, like, I'll be completely honest. I think they started out really good with it, and I actually had hope for it, because you have the zone, like, I can't remember what it was called, but yeah, you have, like, the big Char, like, political thing, and Ryland kills the big scorpion, and Aurene flies in, and they don't trust us because we have an Elder Dragon. Like, you humans are just up to something again. And they're, like... There's this conflict and there's this tension, and then you have Char that are talking about sneaking into each other's bunks at night and playing with their weapons and quotes. And it's just like, there's all this stuff. And it's like, this is crazy. There's so much detail. This is cool. And, you know, Bram gets his bow stolen, and then there's this conspiracy plot, and you find out the Char are actually the dragon minions all along for Jormag. Spoilers, I guess. Sorry. But and then it turns into this really stretched out, really boring arc where you don't even really remember what happens between episodes because they're like months apart. And by the time you play one of them, you're just like, okay. And then they release a strike mission, and then a DRM, and there's just it's very little content already that's stretched out for months with gaps in between it. And then the end of the story, which again, spoiler alert, sorry about that. I probably should have just prefaced the whole thing with it. But
we're talking about story. There will be spoilers.
Yeah. And the end of it where Bram gets corrupted and he goes to fight Ryland because they're going to fight dragon magic with dragon magic, and they're going to get the dragons to kill each other because Taimi had all the answers all along anyways, like she always does. And then Ryland like dies, and then Bram is like, oops, I'm uncorrupted now. Welcome to the gang again. I'm sorry for being emo. And then everyone's just like, welcome back, Bram. We knew you could do it. I was like, really? Like, really?
Okay.
Bram could have been like, because in the DRM, when we go fight Ryland, he's like, oh, I hear the spirits. They're telling me that I have to do this, but I don't want to do it because I'm facing that I'm actually weak, and now I actually have depth to my character, but I have to do it anyways because the spirits chose me and I'm their champion. And then Owl goes and like Owl dies, and Ryland's like, haha, you can't beat me. And you have this payoff where Bram just like sacrifices himself at the end, and like Jormag kills him, and the Norn are all redeemed. But then it's just like smiley face. Bram's back. Hi guys, business as usual. Let's go to End of Dragons.
You know, I think the problem is that the most exciting part of all that story was where you just outed yourself as a furry.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try everything twice.
And if you enjoy that, if you are part of the furry, if you're part of that community or part of any community, you are very welcome here, and you're very welcome.
Absolutely.
And within anywhere of our
shame.
like there is no kink shaming. We do
No
not
kink shame,
get
but
people's
do send your
yums.
Polaroids to Preston. Okay.
Amazing.
Period. But that's another thing. With the End of Dragons, I really want them to retire the entire cast, pretty much, that we know of right now. I want entirely new characters to join the Commander. And I think we could have a lot of interesting ideas like with Calidris and Yao or other Canthan characters that we might meet along the way. Because I feel like the current Dragon's Watch have been developed and hit a wall. They've plateaued. And I feel like when a character plateaus, retire them or kill them off.
Yeah,
How
but
do
we
we
have to
feel?
care about the characters that they kill. We have to.
Yeah.
They never give us enough time. They never put people in harm's way that we actually give two forks about. And the people that they do kill off, they're just like why did they kill Joko so soon? He's a fantastic, menacing asshole. He's a megalomaniac. They could have had a hell of a lot of fun with him. Why did they kill him so soon? What the?
He could have been an expansion, actually.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
He's one of the best characters they've ever had. They put him in Halloween, I guess, even though it's not him technically.
So I don't understand like the community's like obsession with like the only way a character can end is if they die. Like I don't think Bram needed to die. I just think like he needs to
Go away for a while.
He needed to like lose an arm, and like one of his arms is like dragon magic, and it's like dead because the dragon's dead, and he's like permanently scarred forever. And like one of his eyes is that like red infusion thing.
Yeah.
And like do something like don't just bring him back as the exact same character that he's just been. He's just a bumbling like in the mission where you kill Joko's literally making fun of him because he can't spell. Because he's just a big muscle idiot. Like his whole character since the beginning of time. Like, well, no, it started out with Rox. He was like, we're going to go to Kragstead and we're going to save my friends. And he's kind of like a brave, tough thug. And then he just turns into like big, dumb muscle man, Ooga Booga. And that's been his character for years. And Taimi is the genius Azura that has all the answers, but's kind of looked down on by everybody because she's just a young kid. And that's been Taimi's character for years, since like 2015.
I have liked the Bram story with his mum though. That stuff I did enjoy from time to time. There was some depth there that was visited. I think they could have done that a little bit more. I think they could have brought more of the Norn kind of the lore in there a lot more as well. Maybe developed him. I think Cree, what you're saying is right. You know, I think like killing off characters is a trope. I will say that we doesn't need to always be the reason that someone has to go away, especially in Guild Wars 2. Like, you know, like could have done something that Preston has said, you know, kind of get this messed up arm and this thing going on, and they go away on some epic self journey quest thing, and they come back with a little bit more depth to them, or a little bit of a redesign.
They don't want to be like an adventure anymore. Like that's also fine. Like I feel like we've seen so many heinous things that I'm expecting at this point one character to be like, actually, I don't really want to do this anymore. This is a little too much for me. Like Casimir, that would have been the perfect opportunity for her to have been like,
well, that's true. Yeah, sister dies and all this other kind of stuff for thingy-majig. Yeah, for Marjorie, and then just being like, you know, I can't do this anymore, and then thingy follows, and they set up somewhere, and it's weird because then again, I hark on a little bit of Elder Scrolls Online for story, because they actually do this thing. So in the main story for Elder Scrolls Online, and sorry for spoilers if there are any, is that you have this group, and basically right at the end you get to know this group of people who you travel through, like, you know, I guess a bit like you do in Guild Wars 2, and then at the end of the main story you have to choose to kill one off. Like, you have that choice. Later they come back, but and then you don't see these people again until later DLCs or later expansions when they bring them back, and that's like years later. And then you've got this immense amount of joy from the community of, whoa, this epic character came back. Or even if they didn't like them, they've still got some respect for them because they were there for so long in this original story. But then they bring characters back from, like, you know, a side quest that you had in some random dungeon. And then they kind of expand on them more in the expansion, and they're part of the main cast. And it's like, well, give us Farron or something, you know. Farron in an expansion, like, for most of it would be flipping hilarious. There's loads of stuff you could do with them.
But I think that's because Elder Scrolls, like Final Fantasy, is completely everything is orientated around the story.
Yeah,
Everything is in service of the story.
It's true.
For exactly the same thing. So there's an end game boss in Final Fantasy for the first expansion that comes back as a main character and is a pivotal part after you defeat them, and you have this kind of revolving door, and it feels like a more solid foundation for the story as well, because the characters there's the trope, isn't it, that the best villains are the hero of their own story. And that is so true. But we've never been able to have that because of the nature of the characters. And that they almost went there with Jormak. They gave it agency, they gave it purpose, they gave it a mind, they made it evil, but in an understandable way, right? You could relate to it. And then they squashed that potential down into a red versus blue battle at the end.
Oh no.
Yeah, but red versus blue in Halo is really good.
That's so sad when you just put it like that, because that is what they did. That is what happened.
It's such a shame.
It is
such a shame.
I enjoyed that instance though. I did actually enjoy that instance at the end. It was just when I replayed it many times, it got a bit old. But like there were some moments in there which were quite good. There was some really good work with animation. In that instance where the Ryland and Bram are fighting each other, they're kind of jumping all over the shop. It's a little bit anime-esque, I guess, but it was kind of fun, and like seeing the dragon's heads and everything else. Yeah, the thing I really feel influenced Icebridge Saga was, especially towards the end, was the game director leaving, or both game directors leaving. And then the plan of an expansion, and almost like you really feel the difference between Mike leaving, like the whole company, obviously being that top dog of the company, and then like Colin and Josh and other people coming back. Like you feel that difference, and I feel like that is more important than we realize. Like I really, really do. Like, I don't think anyone really talks about this, but like, I've always talked about it because I know, like, how much of an impact that man had on that company while he was at the top of it. And we've heard it from many players as well. And it's just like, it needed to change. Like, there was just no foresight for the future. It just felt like, people. I feel like behind Colin and behind the people that have just come back to the company, I'm pumped for the future, like of everything, like story, of maps, of design, of marking, and everything else. And okay, the stream was a bit dodgy today. It wasn't the best way to maybe end 2021 for an expansion that's coming in 2022 early. But they've definitely gone back to like a Heart of Thorns-esque type of campaign, which, we talk about the story and we talk about, our personal enjoyment of it. I genuinely liked up to Icebridge Saga. I have kind of not minded the Living World, and in fact a Living World story before we got Icebridge Saga was actually one of my favorite ones because of the Joko stuff, because of like Orion's near-death experience, being a mining node. Like it was and that end fight with the dragon was just really epic. Like it was probably one of the best endings of a dragon, or ending, whatever you want to call it, that we've seen in the game thus far. I felt it was pretty good, and it had a mixture of humor, drama, in one series that I'm just I kind of live for. So that was good. And then, because it was so good, I felt like Icebridge Saga kind of hit a sour note even more so. So I think it wasn't as good. Maybe it would have been so devastating, but and again, that's just my personal opinion. That doesn't mean anyone's wrong. We all enjoy different kind of stories, and the way they're told, and that's okay.
I think Brazil is right. I think they're trying to be everything to everyone, right?
Yeah. There is that feeling.
Yeah, and it's a shame. And I think they should just pick a lane, pick one, because you can have fantastic raids when you are dedicated to the story. Final Fantasy 100% prove that. They knock it out of the park every time with their raids. They're incredible. You can have fantastic maps, you can have fun, you can do it, but just pick a lane. If you're going to be that wild raiding MMO, do it. Embrace it, live for it, right? But I feel like they're just spreading themselves too thin, and they're trying to please everybody all the time, and they're ending up not pleasing anybody as much as they should.
Do you think then that but do you think sometimes they actually don't even pick a lane, and they try to go in a lane that no one's designed before at all, and then they just leave that lane completely, and it gets, it's under construction.
There are a lot of problems with like the whole direction they took toward raids. Like, I'll be honest, I think the way that they're going to do strike
You're going to be honest with
forward,
us? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Is that something you've done
100%.
before? I mean, okay.
Everything up until this point has been a lie. I actually really love the story, and I'm a very casual player, and I'm terrible.
I mean,
and I actually did struggle with Big Nose Ted. It took me hours to make that guide.
Oh, okay.
But
I need to go watch that.
It's strike missions. So raids, they said challenging group content, and they called raids challenging group content for a long time because they didn't want to say the raid word. They didn't want to use that word to scare people away, even though they really probably just should have. And raids aren't amazingly difficult. You have to have some grasp on like mechanics and stuff, but really you don't even need gear that's that good. When I was in this guild a long time ago called Apex, and like we cleared all of Wing 1 with green gear on all of our characters. Nice. Like we were one of the first guilds to do 5-man no updraft Gorseval or something like that. But in order to just do raids and have a good time, you just go in and do raids and you just have a good time. You find 9 other people, you find someone that can like make some calls, and you just go enjoy yourself. And if you kill a boss, that's cool. If you don't kill a boss, who cares? Because in Guild Wars 2, you can, like, if you want to get the story and the lore of the raid, you don't have to actually do the raid. You can go into a cleared instance and you can run around and find all the pieces of paper, and you can read the wiki and do all the stuff, and the information is accessible, and you can enjoy a lot of the stuff without even killing anything. But there are also resources to be able to just go in and like easy mode farm the raids if you want to do that. But
shameless plug, you can watch my videos. I have done lore about all the raids. Carry on.
Yeah, easy. Like it's right there. But the raid community is very poisonous in a lot of ways, and there's a lot of like people in Guild Wars 2 think DPS is all that matters, and they don't want to go in and have their damage exposed in a DPS meter. There's a lot of fear and tension, and then they still feel like the White Mantle storyline I actually think was really good. The whole like arc with how Codicus...
I'm gonna stop you with the spoilers, because I know there are people in the chat that we raid with who we're not there yet. So I know that I will just there. I know most people have got through it, but we just started getting into it a while ago. We're taking a break, but they're hyped. They're excited
no
for
worries.
That. Yeah.
In that case, I'll just say I think it's really good, and they attempted to gate some of it behind the raids. Yeah. I think that was off-putting to a lot of people as well, because people have this mental barrier to entry to raids. But the solution, and the other thing about raids is they have this weird thing
every time you get upset about something.
Yeah, it's like raid bosses with pre-events. When you go do Doom CM, you spend 20 hours on Doom CM and you may not even kill it. And 18 hours is not getting past the pre-event, because someone gets killed by the mechanic in the pre-event and you just reset. In the last 6 hours you're there in the instance trying to do it, you're getting farmed on the pre-event, and then everyone gets mad and everyone quits. And so I think that they've solved this with strike missions, because you have the strike mission and you have the boss from the strike mission was a boss in the story. But you go into the strike mission and it's way harder to deal with. There are more mechanics, everything's more punishing. And what they said recently is that they're going to do challenge modes for the strike mission. So you have the story where you can experience the boss as part of the story with all the lore and the lead up and everything, and progressing past it. And then you want a little bit more of a challenge. You go into the strike mission. It's just that boss. There's no pre-event. You just go in with 10 people and you kill the boss or you get farmed, whatever, who cares. And then there's a challenge mode for the people that really want the hardcore content.
Yeah.
And so I think that's actually the perfect way to do it. And I don't think that really alienates anyone, even though 100% people are still going to find ways to fight and complain and think that DPS is all that matters, and Guild Wars 2. Like, that's going to happen. But I think that this is the most bang for the buck, if you will. I think this is the best possible way to develop hard content and instance content and also not isolate other players from it.
I have to say, I mean, so I started my life doing endgame world first raiding in WoW. Okay. And
that was your start of life in life. Wow.
It was. I was like suckling on the breast and playing. And
I totally missed whatever you just said because
It took me a minute to
suckling on the
my
breast
brain.
and was playing at the same time.
Mommy's milk.
I'm gonna get back to my
Mommy's
comment
milk.
earlier.
Oh, no.
so
The milk of WoW of MMORPGs.
I really do have a point though, breasts aside. So I've raided in WoW seriously, and I used to do it 5 nights a week. And I was actually the healing leader, right, of the guild I was in. And I've raided in Final Fantasy. I've raided in all the MMOs that I've played. I don't raid in Guild Wars 2. I don't raid in
Why
Guild
do
Wars
you
2.
not raid in Guild Wars 2?
Because it's a toxic cesspool of angry people.
Ooh.
You see,
Even compared
there
to
you go.
WoW.
But WoW, you can go in. I don't have to talk to anybody. I don't have
True.
to interact
That's
with
true.
any of those angry boys. I can just go in, line up. I've got my gear score. I can go in. I can hit my buttons as long as I know not to stand in the fire. I can enjoy the raid and get my loot and get out the other end. And it respects my time. Yeah, it respects my time.
LFGs, yeah.
I have a whole video. talking
Yeah,
about
I
how
saw
you
that.
can do an LFG.
I said this the flipping months and months and months ago. We had this discussion as well. Like LFG, man, give it to me.
And it would be, and I think it's really hard to change the mentality of a community when you can't even get other people's feet in the door. So I think an LFR will allow them to feel more comfortable encountering and participating in the raiding culture. And then hopefully from there, having that more consistent ladder that I think strike missions were supposed to be, but they just genuinely aren't. Having that little ladder might make it to where more people are in the community. There is less apparent toxicity with like DPS numbers, but that stuff will genuinely always be there. And when you enter these like higher end game areas, you have to be personally comfortable seeing or encountering that. And that just, might not be for
It's very
everyone.
difficult, yeah.
I mean, so I'm going to talk about Final Fantasy. I like the
Really?
game.
You haven't talked about it?
It's quite good.
Uh-huh,
So you have a noddy looking for raid, roll face cross keyboard, don't stand in fire, and you'll be fine. Then you have higher tiers of difficulty, which allows noddy gamers who just want to go and look at the pretty shapes and the
Say
story
noddy?
to enjoy it. Noddy. There's nothing wrong with noddy. I'm noddy. I like noddy.
I don't know what
clever.
noddy means.
For people who are special. So
What? Do you mean?
no, okay, so not gifted gamers, right? Not so you've just rolled up, you're just playing Guild
I've
Wars
never
2.
heard this slang
You're not-
before.
Do you
not
mean people who
gifted.
are just like want to casually play the game and get through
Yes,
the
I
things?
do.
Casuals.
Yeah.
Filthy.
Okay.
Yeah, I am
yeah.
a dirty casual. I am.
There's
I am.
many ways you
So-
could have said that. So much
Thank you.
better.
Sorry.
I'm just,
Okay.
like, using the most
Cultural
offensive
barriers.
language.
So, sorry.
Is it a
So
Final Fantasy thing?
possibly, I think it's a Phonex thing to be honest.
I'm gonna change
so-
the language of all creators within our space. I'm
So,
just like-
so
This is how
dirty
language
casuals
adapts
can come in.
live.
They can roll through the content. They can see the story. They can feel like they've got their money's worth for the game, right?
Yeah.
And then you have tiers upon tiers. So the the hardcore gamers can get the balls on fire, the world is melting around them, and they get the best rewards as well,
Please
right?
don't
They get
talk
the
about
best
balls being on
rewards.
fire anymore.
More balls on fire. But they get the
And
best
Evangelists
rewards.
Have fireballs.
Exactly.
Get into
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Got to embrace the insanity. But so you deal with the spectrum and you give the gamers what they want, and you can give advantages to hardcore gamers as well. So if they farm the lower tier and they do some pug raiding in the lower tier, they can get a currency which they can unlock armors or bits, and there's a whole ecosystem that you can build around looking for raid and different tiers of it. And Guild Wars has just never gone down that road, despite the fact it being fantastically successful in World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's weird, that one.
You mean like an autofill for raids, basically?
Well,
you just
like
queue
an
and you just get dumped in?
LFG. Like an LFG, yeah, like for anything.
When you
Like,
get put into
Well, is it different than the LFG that we already have?
Yeah.
Yes.
LFG, the LFG that Guild Wars 2 has isn't even like a true LFG. It's just a manual LFG. Like normal LFGs,
It's a forum
is like,
post.
yeah, like
You
LFG is
basically post a
synonymous.
thing and people volunteer to join, but more
Yeah.
proper LFGs are like
Oh no.
you up into something and it will fill a group
Auto.
depending on roles.
Ultimate system.
I actually think it's impossible to do that in Guild Wars 2.
No, I made a video on it.
No. I think Preston's talking about the actual tech. Are you talking tech-wise?
No.
No.
Oh, no.
You do it with PvP.
He's talking
No,
about the
no,
sorting
but
hat,
that's-
isn't he?
that's
How
its own
do you
instance,
allocate
its
what
own-
players can go into the instance together, and how are you going to mash
Well,
that with?
You have some, like, the way that I've heard it described, and this may be different than what you're talking about, but it's you have people queue as a tank, you have people queue
Yeah.
as a DPS, you have people queue as a healer. But there's already one big problem with that.
Yes.
If I queue as a healer on Mesmer, people are going to say, oh, Snowcrows says Druid is the healer. I don't want you in my group. And then they just leave the group and queue again. That's a big problem that could potentially happen. But another thing is there used to be this tool in Guild Wars 2 that didn't last very long, and thank God for that, or whatever deity you choose to think whenever, anyways. But it's so Guild Wars 2 briefly had gear check. It was a thing. You could go and inspect other people. It was third party and it was illegal to use, but
Oh,
it existed.
yeah.
And like,
Oh, wow.
actually, you know what? I'm just gonna post this picture in chat if you're cool with that. It's ancient
Are you
But it's-
subbed? If you're not, then we just need to give you
Do it
permission.
in the Discord.
in the
I'll
Discord.
do it in
Okay.
Discord and then I'll slap it
Yeah,
in.
I'll
Yeah,
do that.
Put
But
it in just in case.
let me try and
I have
talk while I
answers to
find it.
these situations, and I think people like to bring problems, but they don't enjoy actually thinking of solutions. And I think there are very obvious solutions to these issues.
I that is something I think that ArenaNet have been very scared to do. I do think so. I think I applaud ArenaNet on their inclusivity of many different communities and people and wanting to not upset people. I commend that massively, but I think you're right, Griff. I think that is
Okay.
part of it is that reason. Like, it then stops them from trying to do like one thing or another. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
And I'm like,
yeah.
personally, I don't have time for like half-assing things. And I think just playing this game for about 10 years now and not seeing things develop or grow in terms of popularity, numbers, all that stuff, though they've had a good year, it's not the time to be playing safe when you have a golden opportunity of World of Warcraft dwindling and Final Fantasy then really just shooting into the stratosphere of greatness. As a company, I would say, like, that is your opportunity to really go and try new things that objectively work in other games, but you just haven't tried in your own game. Like, we know that these things work,
Yeah.
and people have been asking for them, and logically it would offer a great avenue to
Can I
have more
Well-
consistent endgame content. Just go for it.
can I just point out, Preston, that you said that you
Me.
and your guildies went and completed the content in greens.
Yes.
So, do we need gear score if that is the case?
Well, so I just posted a picture in the Discord, and like this was, I'll just address this point for you. I don't know if you want to link it in chat or not, but I'll just describe the story. There was an individual that was, it's on the stream right now?
Yeah, I've got it on stream.
This was a long time ago, and there was an individual that was very vocal in a Gorseval instance, telling people like, make sure you have the right gear, make sure you eat your food, make sure all this stuff. And they were upset whenever we would wipe. And you look at their gear, and their gear is like, it's just kind of all over the place. They don't have matching runes. The stats don't match up between the pieces. There's just some interesting and inconsistent things going on. But
yeah,
and there are other weird things where if you like World versus World uses a Necromancer build with Scepter, but it's a power build. And generally speaking, Scepter on Necromancer is a condition damage DPS build. Not a like a boon removal like support build. But you have people that want to play the same build in every single game mode because it carries over. And so if someone goes to queue and raids as a support build and they're playing Power Scepter Necromancer, they're not going to be particularly effective at it. But I don't know how you would distinguish, because gear and like making your own build is a big thing in Guild Wars 2, and I don't know how you would filter people that are playing like the meta, like best build for DPS versus people who think that their build is a DPS build, but they're going to go in and do like 5k DPS compared to someone who's doing 40k DPS.
Can I answer?
If they're queuing for the same role, and same thing with healing and support. In tanking, it's people are going to want to play tank warriors perhaps, and it's not going to have the same effect as playing a firebrand that spams out quickness and Aegis, or a chronomancer that can do alacrity and evade every mechanic. But I would actually love to hear like some other input on this, because I personally don't see how it would work at all.
Tiered content. So you have for people who genuinely are just enthusiastic about the game and walk in like they've got dressed in the dark with their rune sets and everything, and they're just playing their build. You tune the mechanics of the boss to allow them to experience it without getting flattened, right? And for someone like yourself who is an experienced raider, you tune the boss up with each level an increment. And that's why WoW has something like 3 or 4 different tiers of raiding. So for the same instance, this is not a different raid for each of the separate tiers of difficulty. It is the same boss, but on one iteration, if you stand in the fire, you die immediately, or if the tank doesn't taunt at the right time, you wipe the raid. But that is a very severe mechanic. So you have an entry tier whereby it is less loot. The fight is less difficult. You can tune it through health. You can tune it through pared down mechanics, and then you have tiers going up to the highest level, which is always challenging regardless of the gear that you've got. And that's how 90% of the raids are done in other MMOs. They tune the mechanics of the boss to fit the player, and they do that. Yes, mostly they do it through a gear check, but you wouldn't have to do that necessarily. I'm sure there are other solutions.
There is a way to do a gear check. You would have to, well, first and foremost, Fornax, completely agree. I think a lot of people have been asking for quote unquote easy mode raids, and having an LFG system, at least baseline, allow you to experience the raids in an easier setting where there's slightly less health. Some mechanics are toned down. So like Veil Guardian, for example, instead of 3 or 4 Seekers spawning, only 1 will spawn. So you at least get the exposure to the mechanics. And then once you grow in experience, you can then go to normal raids and then experience the more heightened version of mechanics. So there's a lot of things about like tearing things down. And we see them doing that with Strike Missions and End of Dragons, where they have developed the challenge modes. And then when going into developing the normal modes, they take away certain mechanics or really like heavily bring them back down, so they're much easier to experience.
That's definitely doable, but like I think there's different points being made, and I think there's one thing which is what Preston's saying, which I get, which is the difficult part, and it's the specific intricate roles that, and I think this maybe does get dissolved as you think about tiers of difficulty, because if you think about different fights and how you don't need a tank for something and how you do need a tank for something, as an example, and then you think, oh well, how does that work in a queue? And then maybe it's just like, well, Guild Wars 2 does it in their own way. Do you queue up for a raid and maybe you have tick boxes for your role on different fights and make it more complicated? Maybe you just literally dumb down the fight to the point where, you know, it doesn't matter essentially what people are playing as long as they just want to experience the story and whatever, and you have that basic tier like of difficulty. I think Guild Wars 2, it's difficult because the game isn't inherently designed upon the Trinity, and because the class system and because the elite specializations are all based still very much around that fact, and the fact that, you know, whoever's tanking is the person with the most toughness stat is, you know, that almost has to be something in the system as well, where whoever's got the toughness that's the highest in the raid is almost just automatically assigned tank, because it's like, it's such a different system, and I think it's doable. And like, you know, I've literally probably always been the person who said, like, I want LFG, I want it, and I've always been fought on it. Like, it's more interactive for the community to have an LFG where people can click boxes. I'm like, no, it's not, because people just literally, I mean, they can find stuff that they want to join and it's easy to get into, and that's fine, but they're not put into an automated system, which is even easier, and he's going to give you even more access to something. But how does that system impact the community that is Guild Wars 2? Because it is different from other games, obviously. And also the ethos and the mentality of ArenaNet and how they want their game to run moving forward, you know, and they've changed things, they've changed their minds. They brought raids in for a start, but you have to supply the systems that go alongside that to make it acceptable. And also then you have to think about the fact that raids haven't been worked on for how many days?
905.
Okay. And is it even going to be a future? Is it worth is it worth it to them to invest in a system that is, but then you can be like, well, it can be used for strikes, and then okay, cool, then we can bridge that gap. But it is worth it. It's difficult. I mean, I agree. I totally think, but these are the questions that we kind of have to ask, I guess, so we can.
Not for like any subjective
and I rambled
reasoning. It is objectively necessary if ArenaNet wants to continue Guild Wars 2 for 10 more years or however long.
In group content, with context.
Why would you be implementing engine systems and updates if you were having plans to get rid of the game and go on to another project in 2 or 3 years? These things need to come into the game to sustain Guild Wars 2. This isn't a matter of like ifs, ands, or buts. Like, they have to find a way to implement this so that people actually like stay in the game and play it. And then, of course, purchase gems, give them more money.
But Kroof, counterpoint. Have they needed raids to continue the game, and at the moment as it is anyway?
Not necessarily. But in terms of like, well, I think that, yeah, they do. Yeah? They do. I would say they need to. Because as it stands right now, there isn't any sense of growth. People play Living World and they drop it. They play with Living World and they drop.
So you mean continued growth in an area that they haven't maybe been successful in so far?
They're missing, we've said it multiple times, but Guild Wars 2 still feels like a game 10 years down the road where they don't know what game it is. They don't know their content. So they need to pick, they need to understand that endgame PvE.
Are we going back to the lanes thing from earlier?
Guild Wars 2 is still the teenager freshman in high school that hasn't figured themselves out yet.
So they have to understand that, and the game itself has to allow for LFG systems. And as for like gear check, there is a way to do it. There's an attribute system already, and you would have to meet a certain numerical value for that attribute system to queue for that specific role. So if you wanted to play a tank, you would have to build 1600 or 1700 gear and then queue for that.
Yeah, they need to put that in there. That's another system they need to build, I guess.
What about this? So instead of having all these intricate systems and groupings and blah blah blah, why don't they just open them up as normal maps and let people zerg them? Just let people go in en masse, beat the hell out of the boss, and kill it with attrition. Yeah?
I think that
I mean,
that loses the core of kind of what Endgame is about, where I mean, this goes into another discussion of like how I view the open world maps as the only endgame that Guild Wars 2 actually has. And raids classically and stereotypically are that endgame. So if you just transform them into the easy open world Zerg, you kind of destroy any semblance of what a raid is.
True.
I think,
but I mean, if this is the only option we're gonna get, I'll take the Zerg. I'll take the Zerg. If all they have to do is open it up,
Honestly,
allow it to be a normal map, and just hello, here we go.
I'm gonna find it. So I've talked about this many times. There is a way to make raids accessible for people who do want the story, and we're gonna talk about that game again. Rift. They did it very, very well. You could literally go in with 2 friends, play through the raid, and smash the boss. Even the boss was smaller, so it didn't make it as if you were doing the raid. It was so good, and you got some really basic reward and things like that. But guess what happened? You got to experience all the story. It was so good. And it didn't take away from the raid experience at all, because you still had to get the loot, the gear, and the items in that raid that push you to get there in the first place. I genuinely think one of the reasons the raids also is not so something that people seek out often to do is, okay, the community is kind of sucky at times. Not everyone, sorry if you play raids a lot. I know that you're not. It's okay. But like having like what we talked about earlier, like skins for mounts, skins for gliders, weapon skins that are amazing, not just the legendary armor, which is actually just a thing which is part of raids is part of. It's not like in PvE. Like having like actual rewards in hard modes and CMs where you get something like Elder Scrolls Online, you can get a skin for your mount, and you can also get a very unique skin for your character, which shows off how good you are at the game. And I think that is fine to have in a game, but because of something I said earlier, ArenaNet want to be inclusive and give equal opportunity to everyone. That unfortunately doesn't play into the way of giving rewards to people. They want access for everyone, and mostly that's just time than anything else. But I think that's bad as well.
And briefly, Fornax, when you said Zerg, I should ask, what do you mean by Zerg? Like player numbers?
Think about like legendary bounties. Yeah, think about a legendary bounty on the map, right? So you open up these raid maps, which are gigantic and beautiful, let's be honest, right? And and I don't know, I don't understand the technology, I guess, enough to make this comment, but perhaps not, it's not beyond credulity that they could actually have them as an open world map and then allow people to line up the bosses as they do in the open world already, and with additional story and with the flair of the raid, without the requirement to have 20 people, 10 people committed to a group and doing it 4 days a week and learning the tactics and doing raid training and because, I mean, let's face it, some people just don't have the time, right?
That kind of already exists, though. It's not the same experience, but it's maybe like halfway the experience, because Veil Guardian in Bloodstone Finn, there's literally Veil Guardian at the end of the meta at the map. Like it makes the green circle with the lightning bolt that like kills you if you don't go in it, and it does all the stuff. And there's Slothazor in Ember Bay. Like it comes out and you hit it and it goes to sleep, and there are little slubs that like go around and it tries to eat the slubs. It does something different. But you have instances but also nowhere in the game is there anything like Mersat Overseer in the chessboard other than in raids. That's something that is totally unique. In Samurag and Deimos, no one even has any clue what kind of enemy archetype those are. Like, that's completely vague, and the lore and the backstory about it is incredibly unique. But you have stuff like Cairn, where there are a million different Cairns and Bloodstone Fen. You can just fly around and go farm them on a train. But again, it's like they could have committed to this. They could have taken all of the raid bosses, and they could have put Mersat Overseer in the Mersat Temple in Ember Bay too. Why couldn't they have done that? There's an event where you open it up and you go in and you fight a giant Mersat Overseer, and you have to stack on a chessboard and follow the commander tag, and it kills everybody. But they just didn't do that. They could have easily found a solution to that and given people a similar and even a unique experience, or they could have just like opened up the raid maps, because the raid maps are really cool. People want to see them. They're very different. I don't know. It's confusing.
Would you want that? Would you want that? Would you, well, as a raider, as a dedicated, committed, competent raider, would that chap your balls for people to be able to experience the content without actually having to like suffer the pain of learning the raids, learning the mechanics, having the right builds? Is that an affront to like a raider like you? I'm not throwing shade here. It's a genuine question.
I'm honestly really glad that you asked me that, because the thing that I hate the absolute most about raiding is the like elite raid community, because I want the game mode, like my favorite game mode, like game modes, raids and dungeons, are completely dead, because the people that made content for that, including me at one point, like I'm not going to pretend I don't, have a little bit of blood on my hands for this, but it's easy modes. At one point, I really hated it because my opinion was just, oh, the game's easy, just learn how to play, whatever. There are resources, just get over it. But now, guess what? As a result of that, raids are dead. And the last raid was 905 days ago. They haven't developed it, and I don't think they ever will again. I don't think there's ever going to be a raid. So if I could go back and eat my words and just say, like, I want easy modes because there's this cool content that's really awesome, and I want as many people as possible to play it. And then if they want to get their feet in the door and do harder difficulties and play with me and my guild and whatever and experience the challenge, like, do it. Like, we would love to have you. But instead of me and that other part of the community taking that approach to it, it was just, you don't do enough DPS, get good, kick from the group.
Yeah.
And so now we're in this position where you have people like Sneb and people like Teapot and people like I've started up again too, trying to salvage and save these dead game modes and pull everything back and get people into them now, when all of the communities and the hardcore players that could have been an asset are either one, they're just gone, or they're too jaded to even care because they run in a static group once a week. They clear every single raid in 4 hours and on a Monday night, and they just don't care about what happens in the rest of the game. And that's pretty much it. You can, if you have something to add, go for it.
I think everyone needs to put a hug in the chat for Preston, because I think that was kind of painful to listen to, that this game mode that you love and you committed time to and you created content around just withered and died. So please, I am giving you an internet hug right now, dude. I am so sorry.
But he's enjoying it again, though.
Yeah,
I've been like training raids on Saturday with my guild. Maybe I should start streaming that, but it's been a lot of fun.
Oh.
Like, these things are fun. It's just,
yeah, we did it as well.
As my last point on this conversation, I just think that Guild Wars 2 has to have a feature to facilitate people to get into this game mode easier. Because you have the easy functionality of getting into PvP and ranked PvP. And ranked PvP doesn't check if you have good gear. Ranked PvP does not check if you know how to play the game.
I mean, it's
you just
pretty much the game mode. if you didn't get automatically put into a team, that would be kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, so you either win and fail by error. And that is not something a game's responsibility is to do, to make sure you always win. It's okay even if you fail in like an LFG system, or that you are bad in an LFG system. It's about facilitating something to get people in there. And I think that's just like my final point, period.
I do want to say, I'm not sure how we got to this conversation in the first place.
I know.
because this is not what this podcast is about. But that's okay. It doesn't
Well, it's
matter.
okay. The stream didn't have any content.
Well,
I
this
was
is the
talking
thing.
about, so-
Yeah, I feel. Oof, that was a burn. Unless anyone has anything really pressing, I am going to push us back into that kind of area because we've been talking for a long time, and I'm sure you all have lives to lead as well.
Stretch.
No, I just want to keep looking at my triceps in the webcam. We can just do this as long as you want.
Okay.
I'm Bram IRL, big muscle, ooga booga.
There is some depth to you, I'm sure. Thank you, Griff. Okay, so let's go and talk about some just very, very briefly. I mean, maybe there isn't. I mean, the Guild Hall's cool. You know, there was. We're going back to stream. I'm going to have to change the title of this, the LightBringers podcast. I think we've been talking about raids the longest. I feel maybe
Raid debate, high energy. I get called a what? Not clickbait. That's the title.
I like that. That's good.
That's why
Whatever
you're-
she said,
you're
I
good
am
at
crap at like
Don't
all
worry,
of this.
Deborah. I'll keep your views up.
Wow, shade thrown at my views recently. I know they've gone down, but
Wow,
damn.
very good. No, I've been liking your videos.
No, I
One
have not
testicle
been doing
equals
it.
one
My
view.
channel views are down.
Doesn't matter. You got good content. It's fun to watch.
I literally don't do it for anyone else other than me right now. So I'm just like, I put a catalyst build up and no one watches me for any play. And I was just like, oh, this build's actually quite fun. I'm just going to put it out. That's what the joy of doing this is for me. Anyway, so Guild Hall it was quite nice. But again, you know, I think there is an idea like, you know, and I want to check in with all of you to make sure that you are okay to keep going for a little bit longer. Because if you are not, that's okay. And we can start to wind it down. That's fine.
I need to check on something because I have a raid static going, but I forgot when it was.
Yeah, go check. That's fine.
Hold on. Oh, that's the wrong Discord.
We can definitely have some conversation around the Guild Hall and just if people want to give their even small opinion on not small.
I've got like
opinion.
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
that's whoops.
No, that's okay.
You
That's all
said,
good.
hey, you said we were only going to be here for 3 hours.
That's why I asked, you see. That's why I asked. I should never plan for it to be that way. I didn't expect today to be that long, but then we started having a raid conversation and it was really good. And I just left
started
it.
talking about balls and raiding and all this stuff.
That's literally quite and
You came out as a furry, and we love you. We love and support you for that.
I'll try anything twice.
So the Guild Hall.
Silent.
Very quickly because I want to do an outro and I don't want it to be forever. And actually, you know, maybe we'll just do outro because I think that might be better. I think, you know, generally, like, just sum up like the rest of the stream from like maybe Guild Hall towards the end, like a couple of minutes each. Maybe just say like how you felt about it. Was it necessary? Because I don't even think we got into the subject of this kind of felt a bit long-winded and we didn't need to see every single thing of the Guild Hall. I mean, not everything is in there, but like, you know, we didn't need to see a large majority of that. We didn't need to see a large majority of Arborstone. I didn't need to know about the delicatessen area maybe in there. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that was a little bit too much information. There was definitely a bit of on the last stream for 2021 in the lead up to the expansion wasn't necessary, and it could have been shorter, punchier, and a little bit more like boom. 2022 is like Guild Wars 2. It's Guild Wars 2's year, you know, expansion, bang, exciting stuff. I don't know. Give me some opinions on like the general stream and how you felt about it, and then we'll end.
Mislabeled, but still good to see like the art and the architecture and the settings, but just I think they mislabeled the stream.
Okay, that's fair. Preston or Harold?
I just think it was out of order. I think they should have done the Guild Hall stuff and whatever at the beginning. And they should have dropped the legendary bomb at the end of it. I think they could have done that, and it would have completely changed everyone's, perspective on it.
Yeah, not being left with that, being left with something, a little bit more exciting to kind of chew on, I guess, and then the blog post, right? Like people would have just gone boom, boom, rather than boom. Oh, yeah, shit. There's a thing to look at. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, that sounded really harsh, but yeah. Get it. Mm-hmm.
My turn now.
Yeah, if you want to. I'm just wondering about the first words that are going to come out of your mouth. So.
Oh my goodness, no. So I agree. I agree with the guys. Look, I love the girls who do the stream. They are really committed. I love the commitment of all the devs is wonderful. So this is not shade on them.
Oh
But
no, it's not. None of this is insulting any of the people or any of that. It's just no. We I don't think they think that either. Hopefully.
Ruby is an angel, isn't she? I mean, come on.
Yes,
but,
legend.
The legendary stuff, yeah, absolutely. As Preston said, in the wrong place. The mislabeling of the stream, yeah, a bit. And I also think that they showed us content, and they showed us deeply into quite some of the content to do with the mastery and this beautiful old worldy strange place, but they didn't give us any hook as to why we would actually care at all about this place, why we would need to go there in the first place, and what really we're going to get out of it. Because personally, I don't cook. Okay, so it's. Yeah, it kind of had me bound. I wanted to be drawn in by the beautiful art and the architecture and everything, but I was kind of bouncing off the glass because they didn't give me an in. They didn't give me a hook to kind of want to go in there.
That makes sense. Like, why do it? I mean, other than the mastery, I mean, there's in most masteries, there's a reason. Like, well, I mean, I know a lot of them. There isn't actually. It's like gives you some gameplay in that map. You can open a chest. You can get stealth for a mount. It's not impactful, but in an expansion, you'd think a mastery would be quite important.
Yeah, it has to be meaningful for me to want to spend my time on it. Yeah.
Time is valuable, people. Use your time well. You're going to get one life. Sorry.
As far as we know.
Yeah, as far as, depending on what you believe in. That's very true. Okay. All right, then. Well, this has been episode 31 of the LightBringers podcast, and I think we talked about everything. So I don't sure what to name this episode. Everything? I guess we didn't talk massively about PvP, but it was mentioned.
Guild Wars 2 is dead, and here's why.
No, oh my god.
Oh my god, no.
It's definitely far from that. Thankfully.
Can I plug my World v World guild, or my GM will kill me, please?
Yes, sure do that.
Please, Blub EU, it's lovely. It's on Pike and Square. They're lovely. There's lots of banter. If you think I'm crude, holy shirt balls. Buckle up. Anyway, please join. Thank you. That's it. Goodbye. Okay.
Maybe I'll have to come and join some Alliance stuff on your side of things and stream it maybe. Oh yeah, make sure everyone you select as well in World v World tab at the bottom, you select which guild you want to represent. I may have even ended, actually, in all honesty, but this is more for the live peeps, because if you're listening to this, it's definitely ended, because this week you got to choose. This weekend is the Alliance beta, which again, they didn't actually, I don't think they actually talked about it once. I don't think they mentioned it once, which is a big thing happening this weekend. I know we talked about, there was issues before, but still, you want to sell that stuff, get people in, get them knowing about it. It's a big feature coming up in the End of Dragons. Well, it should have just been a feature, but now that it kind of feels like it's being bagged in with it as well anyway. Okay, let's go. Outro. Preston, what do you do? Where do you do it? Where can we find you?
I take pictures of stuff. I document homelessness in specifically Dallas, Texas, that area. You can find that all on my website, underworldvideo.com. I create Guild Wars 2 content and post pictures of my face with a microphone in front of it on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, at UWV_Preston, and see everything that I do. You can stalk me, you can steal my pictures and upload them and pretend they're yours. Whatever you want. I don't care. Just give me all your attention and then I'll be fine. That's what I need.
Okay then. Please don't stalk Preston. I would not want to advertise that as a thing. I've actually got Preston's website up here as well on the stream right now, so if you're watching you can see all the things. Very, very, very awesome. I've been through it myself. Can you have them as an NFT? There you go. Oh God, please don't. Who's next? Kroof is next. Kroof, you awesome personage. Tell us the things.
Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Kroof. I also take screenshots of people's microphones in front of their face. I'm a great photographer. Hire me. But I do a lot of YouTube stuff over on my YouTube where I talk about videos and all that stuff and elite specs updates. And I also stream here on Twitch Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And thank you once again for having me on for yet another week. The streak is going strong. The streak is streaking, but with fully clothed on.
Are you actually been? Oh yeah, you may have been actually. You may have been the guest on who's been them here the most at this point in time. You may have beaten Rook. I'm not too sure. Or Rook.
Inching every so closer.
Yeah. Awesome to have you as well, Kroof, once again. Welcome back. And last but not least, Fornax, or is maybe known better by most people as the burner of balls. Or the Crichton Herald,
Yes.
who has been a very interesting guest this week. Tell us what you do.
Never to return. So please take down my details now. I have a YouTube channel. I make content for Guild Wars 2 and other games as well, but mostly Guild Wars 2 when I make content. And it's the Crichton Herald. I'm the Crichton Herald on Twitter as well, or something like that. So yeah, hit me up, subscribe, do the things. Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome.
I apologize to your testicles, and I hope that one day you will forgive me and invite me back. Yes.
Maybe. We'll see. Also, big shout out to Preston, who came in late notice, like last night. I appreciate it. I was thinking about it, I was like, that would actually be pretty cool. Let's do this. Okay. And at first I was like, are you gonna be Brazil or are you gonna be Preston? I guess I feel like there's a split between these two people. I'm not sure who I'm gonna get sometimes, but no, it's been awesome. This has been a wicked show today. I appreciate you all hanging out, and I am mostly a sarcastic bastard as well, so don't take away everything I say too hard, too much, hopefully. Otherwise, everyone in chat, thank you. Brazil died with legendary armor and was born. Reborn.
Honestly, yeah.
Oh God! Wow. Okay, that's quite emotional. Okay, unless you've got anything else to say or talk about, this has been episode 31. If you do want to support the podcast, greatly appreciate it. I myself am Jebro. Jebro Unity on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, all the things. And I am an intern counselor at the moment, working with kids in the community from about 5 to 18. Many different things going on in their lives: ADHD, depression, suicidal ideation, everything you can think of that you possibly maybe even had a problem with as a kid as well yourself. And I do it for free until I finish university. So if you do want to support me and my channel and our community by donating, subscribing, supporting on Anchor or Spotify or anything else, then please do so. Otherwise, I just appreciate you being here, following, watching, listening, wherever you are. And I will see you next time with some more Lightbringers who grace us with their presence every week or every 2 weeks. Thank you very much for watching. Take care and have an amazing holiday. If we don't see you before, you will do, but I may not see you before. Who knows? Take care. Thanks very much.
Gaming.